Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Missouri State Fair 4-H and FFA Market Weather Show. Class 1 is now entering the ring. Weights range from 33 pounds to 45 pounds. This is Class 1 of 4-H Market Weathers. Class 3, 4-H Market Weathers, start making your way to the holding pen. Class 2 should be in the holding pen. Also, there was a phone found in the bathroom. Please come to the announcer stand if you are missing your phone.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be back out here, and I'm real excited to go through. Sounds like we have a lot of classes to be able to sort through this afternoon. We're going to try to get them and give everyone a good look, but do it in an efficient manner. We start off with a nice lightweight class here on our 4-H side, a black-headed weather that wins pretty easily. He's the one that kind of combines at this light of a weight, some natural skeletal width, some indications of some muscling through his forearm, his hip, and his stifle, and still does it in an acceptable package as far as structurally. We're going to look at that all day long. We'll just continually talk skeletal width, body shape, muscle, and structure. Those are going to be our priorities as we go through with some added look and some extras that we tack on top. Young man's weather wins pretty handedly here. A little closer between 2 and 3. I'm going to take the skinnier weather that, while not perfect in his knee, is a little more secure in his front skeleton and how he goes in terms of knee to ground and how he sits in there, just a little more acceptable in those ways. I think a weather that if he's given the opportunity to mature out and go, he's got some quality as far as skull shape and hip structure and hind leg set. He's a little too flat and narrow out here today, just needs some more time and more stoutness. Young lady's got a real wide, opened up weather right here. He's really big chested. We can study him in terms of his jump muscle, The turn down to his lower stifle right there is very impressive. Young lady, he's just a little out of bounds up there on his front end as far as how his shoulder and his knees constructed. We got to get him reconstructed there to be able to get him up a little bit higher. We round out with a pair of paints here that both of them need to be just a little stouter and more muscular as I get my hands on them. They're big extended goats that just need more product potential for them. Let's give them a nice round of applause as we start class number 1.
Results from Class 1 of 4-H Market Weathers. In 5th place, Tabitha Harris. Receiving 4th, Dylan Martin. Receiving 3rd, Heston Vengerden. Receiving 2nd, Heston Vengerden. And receiving 1st place was Bryson Morrison. Now entering the ring is Class 2 FFA Market Weathers. Weights range in Class 2 from 49 pounds to 57 pounds. Attention in the barns. Lamb exhibitors, last call for showmanship sign-ups in the southeast corner of the ring. Lamb exhibitors, showmanship sign-ups in the southeast corner of the ring.
Over on the FFA side, a little heavier set is what we considered here into our lightweights, but a Weather, to me, that still leads off pretty handedly. You know, he's a little thicker pelted. We could have got his shear job maybe just a little smoother there, young man, with some guards. I'd encourage you going forward. But as we talk about one that combines some width and thickness and power with still a quality enough look, he was a pretty easy lead-off class winner for me. I'd like to lengthen and level his hip out. I'd like to lengthen his neck out in him just a little bit there, but significantly stouter and more powerful than our Weather in 2, significantly better built than our Weather that's going to be in 3. And so he ties in those pieces again of trying to find some combination that we're going to look at. 2 and 3 have some trade-offs here, very different in their kind, and they'll be the conundrum that we go throughout the day on where we're going to put our emphasis on build versus power. This one's just built significantly more my speed. He gives up quite a bit in terms of just width and power in his skull, his chest, his rib cage, young lady. He's a little too flat all the way through from his chest all the way back out to his hip and his stifle. The young lady gets this one driven, and I think that one's got a high-quality skeleton and the right kind of look and balance and build of just having the structural correctness and the type of build that we're going to want to put into these things as well. So that one's my favorite. From the side, running uphill, being tall-shouldered and long-necked, he just doesn't have near enough to be able to be a class winner out here for me today, young lady. The one that's got the power, probably our most powerful Weather in class, is this young lady's here in 3. Again, this one is the most cracked open in terms of sternum and how his body shape's built in. He's the hardest muscled one up high and from behind, young lady. He just takes it to the extreme a bit and gets a little too coarse and round. We study him through his shoulder and his knee, his top line and his hip. We've got to see him be just built better and go better out on the move to be able to work up any higher in this particular class. A good handling Weather here. Young lady, he gets a little too fragile in terms of bone work. He gets too tight in terms of his forerib and his rack shape right in behind his shoulders where we want to change him. Our dapple here is a long, big-footed goat right here, one that just needs more muscle shape from behind, out of his hip and his stifle. A longer, prettier made Weather here. Again, just runs out of gas and power. Young lady, we got to get him opened up and cracked open. A harder muscled Weather there that gets too flat-bodied. That one has more shape and dimension through his hip and stifle than a couple right in front of you there. If we want to just put a little extra emphasis up there, he could have worked up a couple spots in our paint that rounds out. Again, a long, smooth-made goat just runs out of total muscle shape all the way throughout. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. Congratulate them for their work this summer.
Results out of Class 2 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first was Cooper Burchett. In second, Macy Stoffer. Receiving third was Danielle Bowling. In fourth place, Allison Spurgeon. Receiving fifth was Sophia Bolzer. In sixth place, Addie Schroer. Receiving seventh, Gracie McDaniel. And receiving eighth was Ella Koch. Now in the ring is Class 3 of 4-H Market Weathers. Weights range from 53 pounds to 61 pounds. Class 4 of FFA Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. This is first call for Class 5 4-H. We would like to take a minute to introduce and thank our judge for today's show. Mr. Caleb Boardman lives in Bryan, Texas with his wife Kylie and 3 children, Cash, Tatum, and Tinsley. He currently serves as the executive director for the American Boargoat Association. Caleb and his family own and operate Boardman Livestock, raising black-faced show lambs. He is originally from northern Wyoming, where he grew up on a large cattle operation before attending and judging livestock at the Coffeyville Community College and Texas A&M University. After receiving a Bachelor's of Science in Agribusiness, he then served as a graduate coach at Texas A&M, including coaching the 2013 National Championship team, while earning a Master's in Ruminant Nutrition. Boardman then spent the next 10 years serving as a head coach at the University of Wyoming, and Texas A&M, where his judging teams won over 25 contests, including Cattlemen's Congress, National Western, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, and the American Royal, as well as having 13 team members be named All-Americans. Caleb has judged shows of all species at the county, state, and national level in 30 different states, including the National Western, Oklahoma Youth Expo, Rodeo Austin, and 18 different state fairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb Boardman. Let's give him a round of applause.
Nice pair goes ahead and rises up to the top, and I think there's some trade-offs between them. I'm going to give up just a shot of handle quality and just real power to gain what I feel is the better structured, better built goat. When we watch these go out, this white-headed kind of goggle-eyed, lemon goggle-eyed goat right here goes out and is one that's just freer in terms of his shoulder and his knee. I like the way his loin lays in him and just his utilization of his hind leg a little bit better when we get him out on the lead. I think that one's got plenty of foot size. That one's got plenty of power in this particular class to be able to go ahead and take the class win. It is close though, because our Caped Weather right here is one. He's got the big fuzzy legs. I think that one's got the stoutness of skull and forearm shape and body shape that we're going to be looking for throughout the day. He does get just a little rocked forward there in the angle of his blade and knee, young lady. That'll cause him to break right in behind it. He'll roll up in his loin and drop his pin set underneath of him as we watch him get out and go to where he doesn't just balance quite as well. And then from the side, I don't know if he balances quite as well in his flank. He's just a little higher flanked than where his chest is sitting in him right now, and it throws his underlying balance. But man, the good in that goat, that's a stout rascal young lady that handles very good in terms of his rack shape and his loin edge. He's got a big hip and stifle in him. There's a lot of good in that particular goat for you to go ahead and stand up in the top pair. A good looking goat here in 3 and 4 from the side. A little frailer weather in 3, but he's one that has more muscle than 4. As we study him, this one's correct in his lines and out of his hip, young man. I think one that takes as good of a picture from the side as any that we have in here. Get up on top of him, get him down at his surface. There's just not quite enough meat goat there. He's a frailer structured weather that's a little flatter jawed. Get my hands up on him. There's not as much spread from his rack back to his pin bones there. He just doesn't leave us quite as dimensional and wide throughout. Another really tall fronted weather here. Great big feet and legs under this guy. Runs out of horsepower in terms of muscle, young lady. Get my hands on him. He's too nondescript and narrow up high and from behind. Just needs more muscle mass throughout. Clean his chest up in him just a little bit as well. As we go on, and a pair of weathers here, deep-ribbed, sound-structured goats here that just need more muscle mass, but they have a little more condition, just a little more smoothness to them. A pair we round out with really long-bodied, extended goats, just need more bone and muscle all the way throughout. Let's congratulate all these exhibitors as we continue to roll through the show.
Class 4 of FFA Market Weathers is now entering the ring. Weights range from 58 pounds to 63 pounds. Results out of Class 3 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Sawyer Asbury. In second, Tatum Asbury. Receiving third, Matthew Blanchard. In fourth place, Vanessa Hook. Receiving fifth was Lucy Lamaster. In sixth place, Kaylin Nichols. Receiving seventh, Tatum Nichols. And rounding out the class was Rayanna Harris. Class 4 FFA Market Weathers is now in the ring. Class 5 4-H Market Weathers need to be in the holding pen. This is first call for Class 6 FFA.
Get into a nice class here. A challenging top three here for me. And we're going to go 3-4-3 to my ribbons over there. It's one that you got to decide where you're just going to put your priorities at, and that's where I'm trying to decide. And I'm not going to try to be cookie cutter as we go class to class. I'm going to try to find the ones that are the best in that particular class. And if our lineup at the end of the day isn't just cookie cutter, when we have classes of 5 to 10 ahead at this level, it's probably going to be hard to find them just in the exact same mold from our lightest class to our heaviest class. So we're going to try to find the ones with the most quality. And I'm someone that typically preaches, find the positives first. We're going to go with some negatives here. Young man, that one's back wheels. They're not good enough. That one's just too out in terms of his hawk. That one's stifle just gets out, and the way he's built in his hip and hind leg is not good enough. And so that's what I had to fight if I was going to be accepting of that to be able to use him as a class winner. What I came to the conclusion of is this one's got the body shape, the athleticism, the look, the muscle, and the handle that I want kind of my front line to look like when we get him back out here at the end of the day. And is his back leg good enough? Ringside, if you say, oh, he used that kind of bow-legged one, absolutely. That one's back leg is not good enough. I think everywhere else is far superior enough, and the hardest one to build in this particular class that I tie into him. That one's got the athletic body shape, the fresh touch, the good skin and hair, the look up through his front end, the width of chest and forearm, the width of muscle, and just product development or product potential there to be able to withstand that flaw from behind in this particular class. Probably our most fundamental, just one that doesn't have just a huge hole, young lady, is this kind of red patterned weather right here. And so I debated, do I tie into him and just go ahead and use him as the class leader because he's probably the most fault-free. The issues that I have is he's just not an outlier in some areas. He's probably just the stayless, the thickest necked, and the plainest handling of these first three. I do like his structure better than our class winner. I like his lower body balance and just kind of some of his look here from the side better than our third, but I just didn't think he had quite that athletic round body shape, that hard muscle shape, and that freshness and just look of quality that we want out here in our front line when I come back out at the end of the day and line all those class winners out. Not to be derogatory to him, I think he got a nice stout fundamental goat right there. We just got to get him fresher. We got to get his body shape just a little better to take the lead off for me. Our white-headed weather here has some neat things. That one's shallow. That one's got a neat hip and hind leg. Probably my favorite hind leg posture of anything in this particular lineup. And we'll try to harp as much on hind legs as we can in here. Problem is the other end of his structure is not quite as good, young lady. He gets forward at his knee and a bit straight in his shoulder. My biggest thing with him is he's not good enough over his loin edge. And then that guy just, I don't know if he hasn't wanted to eat and drink up here at the state fair. Just naturally, he's a little harder bellied. Man, his underline just isn't sitting in him good. He looks too tubey and hard there in his center and the rear third of his body and just draws him up and throws him out of balance a little bit. I just wish he had just some more lower rib cage and flank put into him. Paint goat right here, tall fronted, handle's good enough, big stout hip in that guy. He's a little rocky topped, young lady. That one's too straight hawked and flat pasture, and I just need to change his rear leg structure in him, smooth his top line up to get him to balance a little better. If you want to switch the pair, or we got a little better structured goat here that's smoother, he gets in a lightweight class, young man, a little deep and soft for me at this light of a weight. I'd like to make him more athletic in his body shape. I'd like to make him more athletic in his handle up high. That probably betrays him as much as anything is just a little soft right up when I get my hands right up on top of him. But I think that's a wide fundamental goat. Big-footed, pretty goat right here. Just doesn't have enough muscle, especially right behind his shoulder, young man. That one's too tight in his forehead. If that one can go on and you can blow on that one and get him fat and kind of get him to expand in his forehead, that one has some really high quality pieces that typically try to get up a little higher. He's just way too shrunk in his forehead and his rack shape right now. Next one's a smooth made goat, a little frail and flat from behind. The three we round out with, young people, just need to be opened up. We got to make them more product oriented here as far as skeletal width and muscle. But again, a nice class. Let's give them all a nice round of applause.
Class 5 of 4-H Market Weathers is now in the ring. Weights in this class range from 63 pounds to 69 pounds. Results out of Class 4 of FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Brody Swindler. In second, Emma McBrayer. Receiving third, Macy Stoffer. In fourth place was Adeline Barber. In fifth place, Dawson Waymeyer. Receiving sixth, Austin Pope. In seventh, Macy Stoffer. Receiving eighth, Emerson Eckler. Receiving ninth, Ainsley Adkins. And receiving 10th was also Ainsley Adkins. Again, this is Class 5 of 4-H Market Weathers in the ring.
Correction for Class 2. Our second place goat was Danielle Wilson.
A correction for Class 2 of FFA Market Weathers. Our second place was Danielle Bowling. Class 6 FFA Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. This is first call for Class 7 4-H Market Weathers. Start making your way to the holding pen.
A class that's got some different shapes and sizes up at the top end here, but young man's kind of traditional headed one. Here's the one that I can just tolerate the most as far as combining structure and just muscle to the highest degree. He gives up a lot to our powerhouses right behind him, but just significantly better in maturity pattern and structure. And then he's the one that I still just read having enough width and power and handle quality to him to be able to rise up to the top. Now, he is too flat-bodied. That one needs to be opened up all the way throughout, and so that's where we want to change that particular guy. But I think just as far as overall just structural quality, look, and build, that's the one to tie into here. A pair of really stout ones here between these two young people right here, these two gentlemen that are kind of similar in their build. Just this weather that we go in second with is still quite a bit just better through his shoulder and knee. We want to change him there. He's a little too bold-shouldered. He breaks in his top line. He's a bit earlier maturing and just quicker patterned here. But as we talk about one that is just packed full of meat and product, this pair's got it. They're really wide, thick, just muscular goats that are just going to have big ol' eyes and just a lot of product potential. We've just got to reconstruct them both a little bit build-wise. This one's quite a bit better there in terms of his shoulder and knee than our Weather that's going to be in 3. Weather in 3 is kind of one that's kind of tough where you want to put him at. We get pretty hard on his structure and take him down a few spots, but I think that there was just a line there. These 3 goats were easily the most muscular, carcass-oriented goats in this particular lineup. We can see he's got to be better structured up fronts where we beat him. That's the best handling goat as far as true product and total power goes. Young lady's got a tall-fronted, level-made one here, young lady. If he's wider and stouter, we could run him to the top of the class. Unfortunately, he's a bit frail-structured, flat-hipped, and just needs more overall just red meat yield in him to be able to go up higher. But I like that one of being tall-shouldered, smooth-topped, just needs significantly more muscle to him. A bigger boned goat here that I like those things, and I like some of his width of rib and width of chest, young lady. get my hands on him, though that hasn't correlated to quite enough muscle shape and just terminal merit and potential there. That guy's too soft handling over his body wall. He's too nondescript over his rack and loin and a bit flat and nondescript right from behind. Young lady's doing a good job there. As we round out again, we've got 4 goats that have some extension and some leanness to them. All of them just need quite a bit more muscle as I get my hands on them down their top side. Let's give them a nice round of applause as we send them back and congratulate them on their efforts.
Results out of Class 5 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first place, Bryson Morrison. In second, Gavin Conrad. Receiving third was John Holton Gander. In fourth, Avery Spurgeon. Receiving fifth place was Brooke Ryan. Receiving sixth, Jenna Snyder. In seventh, Rosalind Weigel. In eighth, Dylan Martin. Receiving ninth, Wesley Harris. And that rounds out Class 5 of 4-H Market Weathers. Now in the ring is Class 6 of FFA Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 66 pounds to 69 pounds. Attention in the barns. Class 7 4-H Market Weathers, be in the holding pen. Class 8 FFA, be making your way to the holding pen. Also, if you are a market lamb or weather dam exhibitor, FFA show shirts will be handed out in the southeast corner of the sheep barn to the left of the announcer's stand.
Nice weather that leads off. He's maybe just a nickel up right there in his rear leg and not just the prettiest up front, but that's a moderate, boxy, big rib, stout, muscular weather that he's got that freshness, that athletic muscle tone and texture and body shape that we're going to be looking for. Young lady's got him presented very well from a freshness and handle quality standpoint. I like that weather in that regard a good deal. Again, is he just... the best one as far as his build and proportions from the side of being jet fronted or level, no. But where that guy's good, he's really, really good young lady and got a nice one to lead off with. Opposite kind here of our cape shoulder, kind of broke caped goat right here. And this one is a tall fronted, good looking rascal from the side. That's dead level down his top. He's got a long hip laid in him and a long neck up front. With that, when we get in the same weight class, we can guess which one had more muscle, and that's where you get beat. The one that's more moderate and opened up and a couple inches shorter than you, it just packed that much more full of product in terms of body shape and width. Get my hands up on him. I just didn't think there was quite enough spread out of the back of his blade or the heel of his loin to be able to surpass that goat in front of you. That's quite a bit stouter, but this is the one that I prefer, is all of these in terms of height of shoulder, build of hind leg, and set to knee. That one's got those regards. Wish we could combine those two together just a little bit. I liked the body shape and true rib cage of the weather to go ahead and lead off with to beat this weather, but do a good job, young lady. Nice weather just to kind of sit here in the 3-hole, just pretty solidly. He's one that doesn't have any big fundamental holes, young man. I think this one's okay muscular. He's okay structure. He's okay looking. He just doesn't have the ESTs like those. He's not near as good looking as the weather in second. He's not near as stout as the weather that we lead off with. And so he just kind of falls into this third hole right here as just a fundamentally correct weather that we need to make, just push the limits on just a little bit in terms of some muscle and some build and some balance to be able to get up there into our top pair, but a nice weather with no big fundamental flaws. A tall fronted extended goat, young lady, when I get behind him, just runs out of gas in terms of his pin width and stifle shape. We got to give him more inner and outer leg and just more body shape when I get right up on top of him to work up higher. Same here, young lady. This one actually probably is a little bigger loin. He's a little frailer structured. He's one that just gets a little off in terms of his build from the side. Thought that was a close pair. We round out with a dapple goat here. Tall, extended, lean goat. That's very high cut ability. Just needs more red meat yield potential in that particular goat. Let's give him a nice round of applause again as we continue through the day.
Results out of Class 6 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first was Mallory Beck. In second, Savannah Miller. In third, Chance Gibson. Receiving fourth, Addie Schreier. Receiving fifth was Danielle Bowling. And in sixth was Nevaeh Woolard. That was Class 6 of FFA Market Weathers. Class 7 4-H Market Weathers is now entering the ring. There are 6 entries in this class. Weights range from 70 pounds to 75 pounds. No, you're good. I'm just trying to think. No, you're good.
Another correction.
Okay. You want me to say that? Correction, the Class 4. Danielle Bowling received second. Another correction to Class 4. Receiving second was Danielle Bowling. Attention in the barns, this is last call for check-in for Sheep Showmanship and Missouri Showdown Show check-in. Last call for check-in for the Market Lamb and Weather Dam Showmanship and the Missouri Showdown Show check-in. Class 8, of FFA Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. This is first call for Class 9 of 4-H Market Weathers.
Sorry, did you announce that already?
Yeah.
Just
Another. Oh, don't.
don't even matter.
A trio here that have some give and take that you can kind of sort through. But the one to me that's easily the freshest in terms of his height and his handle, the one that's just the most athletic in his body shape and his muscle texture is this weather that we lead off with. Specifically comparing him, I like his lower body balance and his handle compared to the weather in 2. And then I think his shoulder angle and just the way he blends from his scapula into his forerib there is just a little better and just a little smoother there. And so weather's just on the edge of being a little straight. He's right on the edge up front in terms of his shoulder and his knee. He's not the widest based as we watch him go right away. But again, I think as far as just athletic, hard muscle texture and shape and look, that one goes ahead and leads off with. The weather that comes in next, this pair of them right here are very big and stout in terms of bone work. They're kind of burly built weathers. Just want to change some build things on each of them. This weather right here gets a little longer bladed and deeper up in his chest, thicker at the base of his neck and a bit higher in his flank line, and so I can't get him to balance quite as well out here from the side, young lady. Just as far as the way he wedges, both from the side and from behind, I'd like to see that guy just a little wedgier built all the way through. Comparatively, I like his strength at top line, I like his levelness at hip, and I like the set to his knee better than the weather that's going to be in 3, and that's why he stands here in 2. This one, young lady, when he first came in, I thought we might be playing to win because he comes at you with a big stout skull, a wide chest, and a big forearm. That guy's got a big loin laid in him and a lot of stifle shape from behind. He just comes in a little too piecey build right here, young lady. He's a bit coarse and open in his shoulder and open at the top side of it. That caused him to break right in behind it. Part of all of that comes from the fact that he's too vertical and straight in his shoulder, and we get up in front of that guy, he's just kind of bucking over at his knee and rocking too far forward there. We got to change him structurally there up at his front end. That'd smooth everything together and get him to balance better from the side, and we'd be able to get up a spot or two. A weather here that's got a big loin edge in him. Young lady's a little too straight hawked, and then when I get right in behind him, he ranks 4th as far as muscle and product goes of these top 4 goats, and so I think he's one that's probably acceptable in every regard, but when he's the lightest muscled of our first 4 and still a little too straight in his hawk, we just get stuck here down here into the 4th hole. 5 and 6 right here, big, long, extended goats, young people, just like we've talked all day. These ones we round out with just need a little shot more bone, width, and muscle to go through, but congratulations. Let's give them a nice round of applause as we send them out.
Results out of Class 7 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Avery Wooden. Receiving second, Paisley Nichols. In third, Raina Ayers. In fourth place, Lexi Vandevort. Receiving fifth was Ethan Richner. And receiving sixth was Bresley Nichols. Class 8 of FFA Market Weathers is now entering the ring. There are 5 entries in this class with weights ranging from 71 pounds to 73 pounds. We also have another correction to Class 5 4-H. Our second place is Brooke Ryan. Attention in the barns. Class 9 4-H Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. Class 10 FFA should be making their way to the holding pen.
Just a smaller class here, but our kind of frostier weather right here leads off. Not the stoutest class winner we've had, but again, as we talked, just some handle quality, freshness, look, build, and balance. That puts those things to the highest degree out here, specifically compared to 2. This one's taller shouldered. This one is just fresher and leaner to the touch and harder muscled and just quite a bit more youthful. And now he's tucked up in his chest and his lower body balance. He's quite a bit more muscular than our goats in 3, 4, and 5. And so leads off the class pretty handedly here, even if we'd like to open him up ever so slightly from behind. Weather here in 2, this horned Weather is 1. He's impressive from behind, and the side view shape that he has in his lower leg, his depth of twist and the amount of muscle he has there is impressive, young lady. He is just a little coarser and plainer to look at. He's a little deep and plain and mature in terms of his look, in terms of his head and his neck and his chest. He's starting to get just a little deeper and softer to the touch. He's not quite as lean and just trim and high cut ability as the Weather that we lead off with, nor quite as good balance. But we talk about a rugged made, wide, thick-ended goat. That one fits the bill in those regards. Next pair is similar right here. I thought there were some trade-offs between the 2 of them. I liked this Weather right here in 3 as far as being a little stronger topped, a little leveler out of his hip with a little more shape through his stifle. Really big-footed, heavy-boned goat right here. He's got some hair, but if you study just the actual true foot size of that particular goat, very rugged, structured, and big-boned. He just needs to be able to blend that with more muscle up high. He needs to have more stoutness from behind. Our black paint here is a tall-fronted, lean, hard, shapely goat that's very high cut ability. 2 flat-ribbed and just 2 flat from behind, young lady. Got to stouten him up all the way throughout. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Results out of Class 8 FFA Market Weathers. In first place, Hadley Meyer. Receiving second was Danielle Bowling. In third place, Larissa Larrick. Receiving fourth was Payson Larrick. And receiving fifth was Alyssa Harris. Now in the ring is Class 9 4-H Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 76 pounds to 80 pounds. Class 10 FFA Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. Class 10 needs to be in the holding pen. Class 11 4-H needs to be making their way to the holding pen. Another correction to Class 7 4-H. Your second place is Raina Ayers.
Interesting class to be able to put together here, but never doubted starting the weather that we lead off with. And he especially has the advantage, and we'll talk quite a bit here in our top five, that I put quite a bit of emphasis on the one thing that I get to do that all of you ringside might not. So if we maybe have these 2 through 5 jumbled around just a little bit, most of that's coming from when I get my hands on these in terms of some handle quality differences between them. Without a doubt, the weather that we lead off with is the best handling, freshest goat in here. He's the shapeliest out of the back of his blade. He's the widest to his edges. That goat's good in terms of length of hind saddle, shape to his stifle. Whether that is not just maybe just the neatest to look at as we talk about comparing some ideals, or just the most opened up, but he's fresh, he's athletic, he's good build. A nice weather to go ahead and lead off with pretty handedly. Again, as we go through here, handle quality is going to be a big difference, and the black-headed or black paint weather right here is easily my next favorite as far as just touch and handle and hide quality. That guy's significantly better right in behind his shoulder than the weather here in 3. He's significantly fresher over his loin than the weather in 4. And he's just a little better in his top line and his structure than the weather that's going to be in 5. And so that's where he goes ahead and lands here into the second hole. He needs more turn to his lower stifle. He needs more boldness to his forerib. That's where we'd like to change him. Our caped weather, body shape-wise, is probably as good as anything up here, 2 through 5, that I thought was close. This guy's got kind of a neat tucked up rib shape and a good turn to his upper cage right there, young lady. He's wide chested. A weather that gets a little open bladed though. He really wants to dip right in behind his blade right there. We just got to get him fresher in terms of his rack and to hook in stronger out of the backside of his shoulder. We need to see some more depth of twist and just be able to see him just a little better there. From the outside and just smoothness, we could work this weather up into second, young lady. He's my second favorite as far as his look from the side, his strength at top line, etc. Like we talked about earlier, the one thing I get to do is come in and handle that the crowd doesn't. And that's what we betrayed us out here just a little bit, young lady, and kind of gets us down to the 4th spot. He's the narrowest, he's the lightest muscled and the stayless of these first 4. If you want to just close your eyes to that or kind of ignore that fact and just open your eyes to what he looks like and say he's the second highest quality goat, run him up there into 2, I wouldn't argue. That's where he landed for me in this particular case. The one that's maybe a little different as far as handle quality and where he ended up is this young man's, because he's got a pretty big top in him, young man. He's one that handle quality could work up there into the top 2 or 3. I just didn't think that build-wise he was quite there, and I made the call that he's just a bit too straight in his shoulder, steep out of his hip, and straight in his hock, and didn't give me just enough balanced look here from this side to be able to get up there. He is certainly just a little more muscular from behind than a couple right up in front of you. So again, a lot of trade-offs there from 2 to 5 that you could sort around. And then 6 and 7, long, tall, fronted, extended goats that we could get some nice compliments to here from the side. Both of them need more bone, rib cage, and muscle to be able to sort up more in a meat goat class. Nice class again. Congratulations to each exhibitor.
Results out of Class 9, receiving first place, Lena Waymeyer. In second, Carson Jackson. Receiving third, Lexi Vandevort. In fourth, Daly Heil. Receiving fifth was Bryson Rigo. In sixth place, Bailey Vogel. And receiving seventh was Macy Rhodes. Now in the ring is Class 10 of FFA Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 74 pounds to 76 pounds. Class 11, 4-H market weathers, be making your way to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 12 of FFA market weathers.
Interesting pair here that we couldn't make any more different in their type and kind, where each of them are good, they're really good, and one of the better ones we've seen in the show at their strengths. Where we want to change them is where the other one is really good, and where they're really good is where the other one needs changed. And so again, we've got just a stout, muscular power goat that needs to be a little better in his build. We've got an awesome built, good looking one that needs to be a little stouter and bolder in terms of his basic build. And so young man, I know in second, that goat wasn't wanting to just brace and kind of show off right there at the end. That's not why you get beat, because I know how good looking and good he is on the side profile. My debate was, can I stick with this guy's build and call it good enough, or can I call this guy stout enough? And young man here is able to get this guy put together to where even though he breaks just a nickel right in behind his shoulder, we can see him, he's a little high in his chine bone, a little pinched right out of the backside of his blade. I read him just being good enough balance to still have go with his overwhelming width and body shape and just muscularity over his rack, his hip, and his stifle. One of the just shapeliest goats and just roundest bodies goats that we've had out here in the show so far. Again, he's a bit upright and open at the top side of his shoulder, and that caused him to break right in behind it. And so I'd certainly like to balance him better there. He could be smoother from his loin to his jump muscle and a little leveler right out of his hip. All of those things, we'll talk about advantages in our second place goat where he's really good. But man, where this guy's good as far as muscle shape and body shape and just width, he's a very, very good young man. I say his build is good enough to go ahead and lead this particular class off with. Love this guy's structure, young man. It's tough to make him as good built and just correct and neat and on the move as he is. He's high-headed. I love his just head carriage and flexibility and looseness of spine. We put him right and correct in the angle of his shoulder and the set to his knee. He's actually long-hipped and correct in the set to his hind leg, and so he goes out and he's able to be flexible and free on the move. Where I want to change him just a little bit, the biggest thing is he just gets beat in terms of width and muscle compared to the guy right in front of you, and so that's where you have to draw the line. Where I end up getting just a little critical on him is this guy's maybe just protruding out ever so slightly in his breastplate. That guy's just not jam up shallow in his sternum and just perfect there in the way he's designed up front, and then just his rib cage isn't quite as just round and robust as the weather we lead off with, but very, very good high quality goat there for the young man. Congratulations to both those young people. Our paint goat here, pretty from the side, young lady. He's got some pieces that's tall fronted, big bone type goat. Get on top of him and from behind. He's a little flat ribbed. He's a little closed up in his pin set and his base width. We got to just make him rounder and more athletic there in terms of his body shape to rival those two neat ones right in front of you, but a good goat in his own right. Another long, smooth, fresh handling goat right here, young lady. This one just gets a little too weak in his top line. He gets a bit steep out of his hip and too flat in terms of his stifle and high up in his twist from behind to sort up any higher. But he's a big-boned, smooth-made goat as we go through. Another pair of them that we round out with, extended goats that have some leanness and some cutability to them. Both of them, as I get my hands on them, start to feel a little more spine than stand-up muscle shape in them is where we'd like to change them at. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Fun pair to sort there up at the top end. That couldn't be any more different.
Class 11, 4-H Market Weathers, is now entering the ring. Weights in this class range from 81 pounds to 83 pounds. There are 10 entries in this class. This is Class 11, 4-H. Class 12 FFA Market Weathers, be making your way to the holding pen. Class 12 FFA Market Weathers to the holding pen. This is first call for Class 13 4-H Market Weathers. Results out of Class 10 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Noah Williams. In second place, Adam Rhodes. Receiving third was Addie Schreier. Receiving fourth was Mia McCoy. In fifth place was Elizabeth Eads. And receiving sixth was Danielle Bowling. Attention in the barns, if you are a Market Lamb or Weather Dam exhibitor and you need your show shirt, please go to the southeast corner of the show ring to the left side of the office and pick up your show shirt. Whether it's 4-H or FFA, all of the shirts are there, so please make your way there and pick it up.
Nice weather to go ahead and lead off with. He's not just the biggest boned or fuzziest legged one out here, but that one's immaculate in his body shape. Just love the turn to his rib. Fresh, hard muscled up high. He's got a great big hip and depth of twist and outer stifle and inner thigh shape there. Just a product-oriented goat that still handles it on a very functional skeleton. Again, he's maybe not just the most tricked out of some extras that we could put in there, but I think there's some things I really admire about that goat in terms of body shape, true muscle and balance and proportions. That goat's very good and wins this class very handily. The debate was here between 2 and 3, and I go with one that's just a little smoother made. I like this goat in terms of his lower body balance and how his flank sits in him. I like his hide quality and his smoothness of his top just a little better. He's a little deep in terms of his front end. He's a little flat in his rib and softer to the touch compared to 3. So it's back and forth on if I want to use the better touch and harder muscled, bigger ended one, or do I want to use the one that's got enough muscle that I think's better built, smoother, and fresher. Excuse me, and that young lady goes ahead and you can see what decision this judge made. I like him, how he runs uphill and his tall shouldered right there, young lady. Again, we just got to make him more robust and truer in the turn to his center body shape there. Young man's here that comes third. We maybe got him young man in the future. I'd leave just a little more hair on that guy and let him blend just a little smoother in there. This guy's big topped. He's thick ended. That guy's got a lot of shape there through his hip and his stifle right there. He's a little thick hided and coarser in terms of his shoulder. Get my hands on him, as much shape as he has. He's just a little staler there to the touch, not quite as fresh and just doesn't blend quite as good together. 4 and 5 are similar goats. From the outside you may think, and those look like burly, stout, wide-bodied goats. Why didn't they work up a little higher? Both those statements are true. What's also true is when I go handle, and you can probably see it from the outside, both of them are getting just a little deeper and heavier conditioned. I get my hands up on them. They're a little softer there over their body wall. They're not near as muscular and lean and shapely from their blade back to their hip. They just need more hard muscle shape all the way through on those young people. You're doing a good job presenting them. This one's got a lot of bone and just natural base width and rib, young man. He's just too nondescript in his hand. We got to get him fresher and leaner in terms of his touch and his tone. This one's a little better in those regards. Again, just a little off in terms of his build, frailer structured and doesn't balance quite as well. As we go on, another pair of them that are okay from the side, I get right behind them, and they're just two-dimensional in their build and their body shape right there. A pair we round out with when I get my hands on, just need quite a bit more muscle shape and dimension. But another nice class. Congratulations to each of these exhibitors. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Now entering the ring is Class 12 of FFA Market Weathers. There are 4 entries in this class, with weights ranging from 77 pounds to 78 pounds. This is Class 12 FFA Market Weathers. Class 13 4-H Market Weathers need to be making their way to the holding pin. Class 13 4-H Market Weathers to the holding pin. This is first call for Class 14 of FFA Market Weathers. Attention in the barns, we need Class 13 to the holding pen. Class 13 to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 14.
Our smallest class, and I know I took the most time in it, but it's a very good pair, and I want to make sure and be comfortable with where I land on this particular pair. They're, never know when you get until you get them back out here, but they just hit me as hard of a pair of anything that we've had out here in the ring so far. You never know what's going to come, and so I want to be able to study those and get which one I make sure I get this right in my mind. Two elite goats. I can tell you there's probably, depends on probably which camp you're in here, just naturally how it goes. There's some things that are better about each one, so I'm sure there's kind of split on barn favorites out here between them. I think we can agree that we've got two elite pieces of livestock out here the young people should be proud of, and I'm sure they both drug out here to try to win a class and only one gets it done out here today. Here's the difference that I see in them. I think this black-headed goat is just a nickel longer bodied. I think he's a little longer hipped. I think some of the big things we can see, he's a little fuzzier. He's just a little trendier in terms of some foot size and some fuzz, but that's not necessarily wins. I think he ends up being one that I like up through his chest. I think that goat just reads cleaner up in terms of his chest as we study him, how his breastplate and his sternum is tucked up into the front side of his body. When I get up on top of him, I actually think that guy in here from the side is probably just a little shallower and truer and rounder in terms of his forerib shape. He's a little more tucked up there, and with him being just a nickel longer bodied, I see him balancing just a little more elite here from the side with just a little more eye appeal. He's a little low in his tail set. So is our weather in second. We could probably fix them both there. I actually read this guy just a little longer in his hip right there. And then when I get on him, I again read this guy in terms of just shallowness and turn to his body just a little bit better. One of the reasons it's so close is because this other weather is just so proportional. And you get your hands on him, that guy's as good as far as rack shape and just handle up high and smoothness and freshness and just spot on from a condition standpoint as you can get. And the biggest thing I like about this weather and my biggest critique of that black-headed weather is when they track right away. That black weather will get too closed in at his hock. He gets a bit narrow base going away. And so this weather right here is squarer and truer from pin hock to ground. I think this guy's just so good in terms of his square basic build. I talked about slight differences in the rib, but this guy's still very good in terms of his rib cage. He's got a big back. I do read him just a little shorter bodied and shorter hind saddle. Gets just a nickel shorter out of his hip and ever so slightly starting to protrude out just a little bit when I get up front as far as his chest goes compared to the weather we lead off with. Those are the slight differences I see between them. I know that they're very good and the young ladies are very good at presenting them. Nice pair here to round out. A long extended weather's got a little more muscle, just too flat ribbed and flat from behind. Big, long, extended, lean red weather here with the white feet. He's a bit straight-shouldered. Biggest thing, he's too just flat from behind. We got to get him more muscle shape and power right from behind. Let's congratulate those 4 exhibitors, 2 elite ones up at the top end.
Results out of Class 12 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Alexis Kelling. In second, Mallory Beck. Receiving third was Nevaeh Woolard. And in fourth place was Ella Koch. Now entering the ring is Class 13 of 4-H Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 84 pounds to 85 pounds. Class 14 FFA Market Weathers needs to be making their way to the holding pen. This is first call for Class 15 4-H Market Weathers as well.
Interesting one to sort here. Maybe one doesn't just jump out and grab me quite as fast in this particular class, so you got to weigh out where you're going to want to go with. Combination of all things as far as look, handle, and build, kind of the three views we get of them that I put a lot of emphasis on. We're going to study them from the side. I'm going to put my hands on them. We're going to watch them move. This weather is the one that to me has just the least fundamental flaws and goes ahead and leads off as we go. He's a little deep and plain up through his front end. He's not just the stoutest boned one or biggest hipped one that we've seen all day. But as we talk about one that's still opened up enough through his chest, he handles fresh and powerful down his top side. Those are good things about him. He's a little longer pastern there, especially on this right side. We'd like to shorten and strengthen that pastern up just a little bit, clean him up at the top side of his neck and the base of his shoulder there. But he's the one that balances the best. He still handles with high quality, and he still is plenty good out in motion in this particular drive to be able to lead off with. The young man's that comes next, between 2 and 3, sort them based off handle and just strength at top line. This goat right here is leaner. When we get him out in motion, this guy's significantly better in terms of holding his top line together, just be trimmer and higher quality in terms of his body shape there. Young man's got a wide constructed stout goat here. When he comes together on the standstill, young man, even though he's a little easy top, I think you put him together and he looks pretty well balanced here from this side. We set him out in motion. He gets too easy in his top. He's a little too deep and plain in his rib, and I get my hands on him. He's starting to be a little heavier conditioned and softer to the touch. I'd like to lean him up and shape him up just a little bit there. Close here between 4 and 5 as well. I like the extra length of body and just levelness at top line of 4 to beat 5. 5's the one that's got a little bigger loin in him right there. With that, he breaks behind his shoulder, is a little tougher in terms of balance from the side. Next 3 we round out with, again, as I get my hands on them, they just don't have as much product and dimension up over their top side. We've got to stouten them up a little bit all the way throughout. Congratulations to each of these exhibitors on a job well done.
Class 14, FFA Market Weathers, is now in the ring. There are 5 entries in this class with weights ranging from 80 pounds to 83 pounds. This is Class 14, FFA Market Weathers. Attention in the barns. Class 15, 4-H Market Weathers needs to be making your way to the holding pen. And this is also first call for Class 16, FFA Market Weathers. Results out of Class 13, 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Madison Moots. In second, Coy Honeycutt. Receiving third was Gabriel Hopp. Receiving fourth, Ty Swindler. In fifth place, Samantha Brown. Receiving sixth was Miley Geringer. In seventh place, Gunnar McSparrett. And in eighth place was Bryn Griffin. Those are your results from Class 13, 4-H Market Weathers.
Nice trio here to rise to the top, but that was a little closer between the pair we lead off with. And body shape and handle quality, again, is going to sort the pair. Structurally, I probably prefer the Weather in second just a little bit, but in a market show, get hands up on them. There's more fresh rack shape. There's more width of loin. There's more stoutness of hip and inner and outer leg shape in the weather that we lead off with right here. Wide constructed, good bodied, big backed. Want to change him in his top line. He breaks right in there behind his shoulder, gets a bit steeper out of his rump is where we'd like to change him. Young ladies here, I like this one's build. A little longer pastern, but besides that, that's a tall fronted, athletic, smooth structured one that gets out and is correct on his feet and legs. And he's a little flat body to get my hands up on him. He's a little round to the edges of his loin. He doesn't hook as good into the front side of his hip, and there's just not as much just power and stoutness there when I get my hands up on him. One that is kind of neat in terms of his upper rib and just athleticism is this Weather here in third, and he's got a big old forearm and set of feet and legs and foundation underneath of him. He's just a little dry and tucked up in his lower body. He just reads a little shallow flanked and harder doing to me. I'd like to balance him out just a little bit better there to be able to rise up to our top three, or to our top two. And of those three, as I watch him go right away, this one is the narrowest in terms of his genuine base width right underneath. A nice pair of them here still to be in 4 and 5, a deeper class here. I like the handle quality and the shape of 4 to beat 5. He's the frailest one out here, young lady. He's the flattest ribbed one right out here. Next one, a big boned extended weather that's got some quality to him. He just got too nondescript in his muscle shape. I get my hands up on him. I feel too much spine and not enough muscle mass there, young lady. A nice class. Let's give them all a nice round of applause.
Class 15, 4-H Market Weathers, is now entering the ring. Weights range from 86 pounds to 88 pounds. This is Class 15 of 4-H Market Weathers. Class 16, FFA Market Weathers, needs to be making your way to the holding pen. Class 16 to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 17 of 4-H. Attention in the barns. There are going to be 20 minutes left for you to get your t-shirt to show in if you are a Market Lamb or Weather Dam exhibitor. Again, those t-shirts can be found to the left of the office in the southeast corner of the show ring. 20 minutes left.
Again, a little trickier class for me just to decide what we're going to tie into, one that doesn't just jump out to me. When we put him here on the side, I think the one that balances the best is this young man, short-eared. Weather said he froze it off. Got born on a cold day there, lost the end of his tail in one ear. So he survived and has got a story here to be a class winner at the Missouri State Fair 4-H show here. I think he's just significantly better than our Weather, better built than our Weather in second. He's quite a bit leaner and more athletic and better touching than our Weathers in 3 and 4. So he's the one that I tie into as just having the most quality to him and being just the best balanced Weather. He needs more muscle as an individual. He needs to be a little stouter from behind. Probably our most muscular goat in here is this Weather that is going to end up in second. He's got a big loin in him. He's got a big hip in him. We can see here from the side, he just needs to be reconstructed from a build and balance standpoint. He's big shouldered and broken in his top line and gets a bit round out of his hip. We can't get him to balance up quite well enough, but I felt from just a product and just a carcass value standpoint, he was the second best one in here. If you want to switch those and get 3 and 4 up just a little higher because they're a little better balanced and smoother and just a little better structured, I could understand. This young lady's Weather here in 3 is one that's a little bigger footed as well. Get my hands up on them, and they're just a little disappointing. They're nondescript in their muscle shape. They're a little flat-bodied and just need to have more power all the way through. I thought there was still more width and substance in the young ladies than the young man's paint Weather here. Both of them are doing a nice job. Young lady's cape-fronted goat right here, long extended goat, just gets too plain and narrow as I get my hands on him up high and from behind. Young lady, he's too flat-bodied. Similar here, white-headed goat's a wide constructed one that's a little deep, got him just a little fat. A couple that we go down with are just a little too lean. They needed more muscle mass all the way through. Let's give them a nice round of applause as we send this group out. A nice class.
Class 16 of FFA Market Weathers is now entering the ring. Weights range from 86 pounds to 89 pounds. This is Class 16 of FFA Market Weathers. Class 17 4-H Market Weathers need to be making your way to the holding pen. Class 17 4-H need to be making your way to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 18 of FFA.
Young man's got us an easy class winner right out here, one that's just ultra stout and burly in his foundation and build. Awesome rib cage in there, one that'll be fun to see back out and compare out here in the champion drive. One that's the most muscular, best built, soundest structured one in this class, no doubt. He wins very, very handedly. Congratulations to that young man. I thought it was a little close here between 2 and 3. The Weather in seconds are more muscular option. I'm going to give up just a little look to gain some product and power in this particular Weather. He handles bigger and wider down his top, not necessarily fresher, but wider with more dimension. He's got, to me, just more depth of twist and a little more product. He gets a little rough in his top line, coarser shouldered, and just maybe not quite as good to look at. And so if you want to make the switch for a red-legged Weather, no argument here. This one's taller fronted. Young lady's got him presented very fresh in terms of his skin and hair quality, and his handle quality and freshness is good. I just think he's just a little flat-bodied young lady. I want to just make him rounder in terms of his rib cage, blowing apart in terms of his base width, and get him square and wider out to his corners there. It gets close here as we go down to a lot of just still nice goats that just had some things to change. I thought the next best balanced one is the young ladies that comes in next. Runs out of power though, but I think that one can balance up okay from the side. A little leaner, better handling goat that comes in next. Too steep hipped, too frail structured underneath young lady. A more powerful Weather that gets a little deep and soft, just a little off balance from the side, and then a longer, smoother built one that just needs more product all the way, especially right from behind. Let's put our hands together, congratulate them, especially a really nice class winner up on the top end.
Class 17 4-H Market Weathers is now entering the ring. Weights in this class range from 90 pounds to 93 pounds. This is Class 17 4-H Market Weathers. We now have results from classes 11, 14, and 15. Results out of Class 11, receiving first place was Maddox Wiss. Receiving second was Leah Darling. In third place is Bowen Greenlee. Receiving fourth was Stella Hull. In fifth place, Paisley Rogers. Receiving sixth, Bryson Rigo. In seventh, Delaney Heil. In eighth place, Ryan Selvey. Receiving ninth was Carly Wilson. And receiving 10th was Paisley Rogers. Those are your results from Class 11. Results out of Class 14 FFA Market Weathers. In first place was Sydney Eichelman. Receiving second was Miranda Foster. Receiving third was Chesney Early. Receiving fourth is Allison Roberts. And in fifth place was Elizabeth Eads. Those are your Class 14 results. And finally, Class 15 results. Receiving first place was Matthew Blanchard. In second was Emma Meterhoff. In third, Emery Launbauer. Receiving fourth, Dane Heil. Fifth place, Kinley Garrison. Receiving sixth is Macy Rhodes. Seventh, Ellie McSpirit. Receiving eighth, Bowen Greenlee. In ninth place, Oakley Watson. And in 10th place, Bryson Vogel. Those are your results from Class 15 4-H Market Weathers. In the ring now is Class 17 4-H. Class 18 FFA Market Weathers need to be making their way to the holding pen. Class 18 FFA Market Weathers, be making your way to the holding pen. This is first call for Class 19 4-H. Your results out of Class 16 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first was Thomas Limbach. Receiving second, Brody Swindler. In third, Isabella Miller. Receiving fourth was Avery Schumacher. In fifth place, Caitlin Miller. Receiving sixth was Brinley Schumacher. Receiving seventh was Adeline Jackson. Those are your results from Class 16 FFA Market Weathers.
Again, got to pick and choose a little bit here on where we're going to wind up and some different types and kinds. A little frailer structured weather here that's just a little probably just fuller and just a little deeper there than ideal there to balance. But as we talk about just genuine skeletal width and broadness of skeleton, some hardness of back and hip shape, I think this is our product-driven weather that's got the most carcass potential in there. Certainly one that's a little frail, one that we just want to tweak in terms of his rear leg build there some. But as far as just genuine skeletal width and some body shape, he's the one that I tied to in this particular class. Next one's one that just is a little taller fronted, probably a little better balanced and bigger boned right there. Get up on top of him. He doesn't handle as fresh out of the backside of his shoulder. He wants to round out of his loin, and we can see him kind of wrinkle up right there. That's where we change him. And so I thought it was close because the weather in 3 of the young man's handles better in those regards. He's fresher up high. Young man, that one I get up on top of him is just too flat. Starting up in his head, that's a kind of a longer, flatter headed, narrower chested goat that needs just more broadness of chest and rib cage in him. We need to expand him out in terms of just his overall width and mass. Some neat things here, young lady, in this caped weather. He was the one I struggled with what to do with. Crazy long-necked, hard-shaped, big old jump muscle and some shape from behind. I just could never get him to balance. He's so piecey in terms of he's kind of long-necked, but then he's long-bodied, but he's pretty hard-bodied, kind of flat-ribbed and steep hips. So I just want to blend those pieces together better in there, give him more rib cage, give him more substance. You love how tall-fronted he is. He's one of the fresher, better presented goats in here. So if you want to run him up a couple spots, I wouldn't argue any here. Long-bodied goat here in our blonde-headed weather. Just gets too plain when I get my hands on him, young lady, over his rack and his loin, too flat in his hip from behind. we like to change those things. Up until I get my hands on him, young lady, this one could work up a little ways. He's one of our bigger boned, wider based goats. Get my hands up on him. He's a little too soft and just heavy condition. That guy's the least muscular. When I get my actual hands on him, without putting my hands on him, I'd sort him up 4 or 5 spots, honestly. But get my hands on him, he's just real disappointing in terms of freshness, muscle tone, and texture there. Long extended goat here, that's just the lightest muscle than the frailest young lady. Got to open him up all the way throughout. But young people doing a good job there. Let's give them all a nice round of applause.
In the ring now is Class 18 FFA Market Weathers. There are 5 entries in this class with weights ranging from 90 pounds to 91 pounds. This is Class 18 FFA Market Weathers. Class 19 4-H Weathers need to be making your way to the holding pin. Class 19 Weathers need to be making your way to the holding pin. This is also first call for Class 20 of FFA Market Weathers.
Came to a class here that sorts together and just logics together a lot easier, so a little quicker here in our polls and decisions. Weather that just leads this class off very handedly as well. Not perfect behind his shoulder, out of his hip there. But man, that's one of the more athletic, bodied, better touching goats we've seen all day. Think that he's really good in terms of skeletal width and power. Again, change him there in his top line just a little bit. Very good goat to lead off with. A red goat's a nice one. In some different classes, he could have withstood maybe up to the top end and have found some classes he could have won, young lady. That one is really shallow. We talked about yesterday in showmanship. That guy is so shallow, long-fronted, kind of freaky in those regards. Just so picked up off the ground in terms of his rib cage and athletic shape that he has there to his body, with a great big spread out of the back of his shoulder. He's got a plenty big hip and muscle from behind. He gets a little straight shouldered. That one gets just a little out of balance in terms of just his build because of his angle of his shoulder and knee. He's a little frailer structured with a little more vertical set there to his hind leg, and that's where we tweak him a little bit, but a very nice weather to be standing here in second. Young ladies in thirds, a wide-bodied goat that has enough skeletal width, almost to the point that he's a little too wide, right, in terms of his stifle joint and how he places his hock in. Bigger thing is he's just a little deeper, plainer weather. That's just a bit nondescript to the handle. We got to lean him up a little bit and make him more aggressive in terms of cutability and shape there, young lady. Pair we round out with big, long, extended goats. Both of them just a little too flat-bodied. Both of them just a little frailer structured, but long, extended, trim, high cutability goats. Let's give them a nice round of applause again. Real nice class winner there to go ahead and lead us off.
Results out of Class 18 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first was Mallory Beck. In second, Brenna Whitlow. Receiving third, Nevaeh Wallard. In fourth place, Mia McCoy. And receiving fifth was Brandon Hammett. Now entering the ring is class number 19 of 4-H Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 94 pounds to 95 pounds. This is class 19 of 4-H Market Weathers. Class 20 FFA Market Weathers needs to be making your way to the holding pin. Class 20 FFA make your way to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 21 of 4-H Market Weathers.
On the 4-H side, certainly the best pair we've had come in on this particular division, and a nice pair between them to sort through right here. Just love the athleticism of this goat that we lead off with. I think that one's so tucked up and right in terms of length of shoulder and how his chest sits up in him, the turn to his body, so fresh and good, and his muscle tone and texture up high. Love his shape out of his hip and his stifle right there. That one's really good in those regards. He's not quite as massive as the weather that's going to be in second is just total skeletal width and pride through his chest and his rib. He's probably not just as dense featured as that weather. I'd like to tweak them both just ever so slightly in terms of rear leg design. I think the weather we lead off with is one that I like his hip as far as being just a little taller, a little higher at his tail placement there, but he's a little shorter hipped, and so he drops a little straighter in his hind leg, and he'll just be a little tighter in how he goes out of his hind leg. This one's got a little more set and a longer hip, but he's a little steeper out of his hip, and he'll get up underneath of himself just a little bit. And so I just love the athleticism, the fresh body shape and touch and tone of that Red Hawked weather to go ahead and lead off. Again, young lady, several of these classes on the 4-H side that we've had, you would have won most of those classes coming up to this point. This one is good in terms of his skeletal width and rib cage. Got a massive back laid into him. Again, I like his length of hip just a little better. I don't read this one quite as just tucked up and neat in terms of his chest or his body shape. As massive as he is up high, I don't touch it. I don't read his touch and handle just quite as crisp and fresh and athletic all the way through. Those are the difference between them. I think a really nice pair. Congratulations to both those young ladies on doing a good job. 3 through about 6 here gets very close as well. I thought handle quality and leanness went with this weather here to stand up in third. He's a little deep-chested and easy in his top line. We got to get him a little more muscle from behind. Stouter, denser made red-tailed goat here. If you call him lean enough and athletic enough, we probably run him up a spot. I thought he was just a little thick-hide and a little deep there, young man. Wanted to see him be just a little trimmer to the touch and just a little better there. Young man's red flanked goat that comes in next. A long, smooth-made goat there. He gets just a little rounder in his build, rounder in his muscle tone. When I get him up high and touch him, young man, I just need to see more width and spread of muscle right up out of the top side of that guy's skeleton. Long extended goat here gets a little too flat ribs, young lady. We got to get more muscle in that particular goat. Same as we go down, a couple that just need to be a little leaner and more shapely. In the next pair, one we round out with needs a little more bone and muscle. Congratulations. Let's give him a nice round of applause. A nice pair there to go ahead and lead that particular class off.
Class 20 FFA Market Weathers is now entering the ring. Weights in this class range from 94 pounds to 99 pounds. Again, this is Class 20 of FFA Market Weathers. Class 21 4-H Market Weathers, be making your way to the holding pen. Class 21 4-H, be making your way to the holding pen. This is first call for Class 22 FFA Market Weathers. First call for Class 22. Your results out of Class 19 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first place was Aubrey Sloan. In second, Maddox Swiss. Receiving third, Emma Meyer. Receiving fourth was Gavin Conrad. Receiving fifth was Emmett Jeffries. In sixth place, Natalie Van Hook. Receiving seventh, Emma Meterhoff. Receiving 8th, Ryan Selvey. And in 9th place, William Oliver. Those are your results out of Class 19.
Nice trio to surface here, but really you could tell I thought it was between this top pair, and both really good. I think just some slight tweaks on each of them. I had to make the call on, does the weather up front, is he good enough touching? That's his weak point in him, is that guy's just a little soft backs, not only as far as strength at top line, but handle quality. Or is this guy, do you call him, go with the muscle goat? Is he good enough looking and good enough built? Is that guy's base of his shoulder, base of his neck, and hip structure in him quite good enough? I decided that I thought there was just more unique, hard to build pieces in this goat right here. When we talk about one that is just so wide skeleton, to make one that wide chested and tucked up in terms of his chest and long necked and the way it sets out of the top of his shoulder, that kind of body shape I think is very unique in him. Just a really wide constructed, neat goat here from the side that's so tall shouldered. Again, he's so long bodied and so loose spine that he gets a little easy in his spine there in motion. I'm someone that probably takes him just a little looser and will take him just a little easier in their top line than some, but it does correlate. He probably needs a little more muscle and spread up high. Usually ones that get a little easy back need just a little more muscle out of the the back of their shoulder and their loin. He is just a little softer and plainer there. Young man's doing his best to get that goat to drive and get into him and get as much out of him as he can. I commend him on that, and I think that's a tough, high-quality one to build, and so give up just a little muscle tone and texture to find one that I thought's just a little more unique in terms of his build there. Young lady's black one here with this black spot right in the middle of him. One of the heavier muscled goats we've had all day out here, young lady. That guy is just creased up in his back. He's as big and shapely out of his hip and just his glute muscle and inner leg and depth of twist as anything that we've had out here, young lady. Read him just a little jammed up from flank to flank there. He's a little shorter from the top of his blade to the top of his pole. Gets a bit big and coarse at the base of his shoulder. When we get him powerful, it's true to antagonisms that we get him a little rounder and coarser. It happened to him. That doesn't take away from how just good and high quality he is. Young lady, you've got a good one here in this parrot mouth weather. He's one that I think's awfully good in terms of body shape and athleticism, hard muscle shape. He runs out of power just a little bit here out of his hip and through his stifle and depth of twist. I don't read him, even though he's tucked up and athletic in his rib, quite as just bold and true right there in his forerib. He's just a little longer bladed as well. So just little tiny things that tweak on him to not get him around that top pair of real good ones, but that's a very good weather in his own right to be standing there in 3. Again, I thought close here between the next couple. The young lady's next one was just the next most muscular, widest constructed, best handling one. That's why he stands in 4. A little stronger topped pair of them here in 5 and 6 that are leveler out of their hip. This one right here just needed more muscle shape up high. Young man, yours is too straight hawked and flat on that pasture, and we just got to fix his rear leg structure, get him a little more muscle right from behind. Young ladies here just needs a little more stoutness and width all the way through. Young ladies, yours that comes next. The next pair of them, I'd like to change their rear leg structure on him just a little bit. See him handle just a little fresher up high. Big bone goat we round out with right there. Just is a little deep and soft. Just got a little heavy conditioned on us. Nice class, good top end. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Your results out of Class 20 FFA Market Weathers. Receiving first, Thomas Limbach. In second, Haley Parrott. Receiving third, Hadley Meyer. In fourth place, Ashley Reed. In fifth, Savannah Miller. Receiving sixth, Landon Waymeyer. Receiving seventh, Leah Tees. In eighth, Allison Roberts. Receiving ninth, Elizabeth Eads. And in 10th place is Larissa Lyric. Those are your results out of Class 20 FFA Market Weathers. Now entering the ring is Class 21 4-H Market Weathers, with weights ranging from 97 pounds to 105 pounds. We also have results from Class 17 4-H Market Weathers. Receiving first in that class was Madison Moots. In second, Maxon Sims. In third, Leah Darling. Receiving fourth, Kylie Morrison. In fifth place, Bailey Ryan. And in sixth place, Bryn Griffin. Those are your results out of Class 17. We need Class 22 FFA Market Weathers to be in the holding pen. Class 22 FFA Market Weathers to the holding pen, please. This is also first call for Class 23 4-H Market Weathers.
Good trio here to sort up that have just a little differences. Young lady, pull yours up just a little bit there for us if you would. Young ladies that we lead off with, he needs more hip and stifle. Be the first one to tell you that. He's a little long pastern there from behind, but therefore the front 2/3 of this goat I think is just superior as far as his freshness and quality and balance when she gets him put together. I think one that's just a little better in terms of rib shape and turn there to his forerib, a little better down his top line than the Weather in second. One that's tucked up, leaner, and just a little trimmer than the Weather in third to go ahead and lead off in this judge's opinion. Is good topped and probably attractive from the side as any is this Weather here in second. The young man showing us one that I get up on top of him. I think just a little too flat ribbed. I need to open him up in his pin set and see him stouter from behind. This is our stoutest one, young lady. If we just want to muscle him out and width him out, you could win this class. He's got the biggest hip, no doubt. With that, I thought he got just a little fat. I thought he got just a little deep and coarse in his shoulder, and got my hands on him. He was the stalest of our top three right here. But if we just want to go with total width and product, that goat could get there. I wish we could trim him up and make him a little higher cutability to go ahead and truly call him the carcass goat of the particular class. Red goat's long extended. He needs more bone. He needs more depth of twist, young lady. Long extended pair here. We'd like to tweak them in terms of just their rib cage and muscle that they have laid over their skeleton. We just need a little more red meat yield potential in that particular pair. Good class, though. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Now entering the ring is Class 22 FFA Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 100 pounds to 103 pounds. There are 4 entries in this class. Class 23 4H Market Weathers needs to be heading to the holding pen. Class 23 4H to the holding pen. This is also first call for Class 24 FFA.
Again, a nice pair of them here to sort off with. Just as far as true body shape, and again, get my hands on them, is the difference between the darker headed Weather and our kind of lemon headed Weather here to be in second. This guy up front is one of the better touching goats we've got my hands on all day. He's so crisp out of the backside of his shoulder. That one's got a big old loin edge in him and a big crease running down through his stifle. That guy's good in those regards. Little steeper hip, maybe just a nickel narrow base right from behind. I think a lot of good in that particular goat to go ahead and lead off with. Love the length and extension, height the shoulder, length the neck, length the body and hind saddle of this Weather here. That's going to stay in second, young lady. You do a good job driving that one. He's wide enough hipped. I think he's got enough just the outer stifle shape to him. He's a little higher twisted. Get my hands up on him. He's a bit flatter caged, and accordingly he doesn't have the same spread or stand-up shape right out of the backside of his blade as the Weather that we lead off with. A nice Weather to be standing there in 2. 3 and 4 close as well. I like the stouter footed goat that's just a little leaner up front. He needs significantly more lower leg shape and depth of twist, young man. He's just too flat from behind right there. A big-footed extended paint goat here we round out with. He's the plainest and softest touching young man, he's just a little fatter, a little heavier condition. We got to lean him up. A nice class. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Results out of Class 22. Receiving first place is Alexis Kelling. In second, Hadley Meyer. Receiving third, Austin Pope. And in fourth place, Maddox Sidwell. Those are your results out of Class 22. Now entering the ring is Class 23 4-H Market Weathers. Weights in this class range from 109 pounds to 120 pounds. There are 6 entries in this class. Class 24 FFA Market Weathers needs to be in the holding pen. Class 24 FFA Market Weathers to the holding pen.
Easy class winner and certainly one of the higher quality ones on the 4-H side. He's got the build and just power and stoutness, high quality look and fresh touch that we're looking for to lead off with. That one will be good to see back out here compared to a couple other class winners as our heavyweight class winner compared to everything else out in our champion drive. Congratulations to that young lady on an easy class winner. It gets a little closer here, but thought that red goat is the one that comes together the best in terms of some balance and leanness up at this heavyweight. He's the next trim, high cut ability weather to be standing here in 2. Our weather in 3 is the biggest bone goat here of our remaining ones. He's got as much skeletal width as anything. Gets a little deep and mature, just start to get a little heavier condition in this set of goats as we go down the lineup. We'd like to just lean them up, make them just a little more athletic in their touch. I just kind of width and powered them out of this set all the way down as we go through. All of these are big, good doing goats that look like they gained well, just needed to convert a little more into red meat and a little less into some maybe extra condition on there. But good heavyweight 4-H class. Let's give that last class of 4-Hers a good round of applause.
Now entering the ring is our last class, Class 24 of FFA Market Weathers with 2 entries, weights range from 110 pounds to 112 pounds. This is Class 24 FFA Market Weathers. At the conclusion of this class, class 24, at the conclusion of it, we will have a 5-minute break. After that break, we will begin calling for the class winners from the 4-H division. At the conclusion of class 24, we'll have a 5-minute break. Then we will begin calling for the class winners in the 4-H division.
We got to our last class and ran out of batteries apparently, but a good heavyweight FFA class. That was a sign I talked too long through today. So real good class winner to be this big and heavyweight and still kind of come that neat from the side. You know, he's a little mature in terms of his handle and where he's at there. Maybe not the most shapely in terms of stifle from behind. That's a real high quality one. That'll be fun to see back out in our champion drive. Big long caped weather here. That's got plenty of width. Needs a little more hard muscle shape. Just got a little deep and plain. That maturity probably betrayed us just a little as we went through, but good way to end out before a little break in our champion drive. I'll be excited to see them all back out here. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Results out of class 24, receiving first place was Caden Litton. And in second place, Cadence Polly. Those are your results out of class 24, FFA Market Weathers. We are about ready to begin our 4-H Grand Drive. We need, out of Class 1, Bryson Morrison and Heston Van Gerden. Out of Class 3, Sawyer Asbury and Tatum Asbury. Out of Class 5, Bryson Morrison and Gavin Conrad. Out of Class 7, Avery Wooden and Paisley Nichols. Out of Class 9, Lena Waymeyer and Carson Jackson. Out of Class 11, Maddox Wiss and Leah Darling. Out of Class 13, Madison Moots and Coy Honeycutt. Out of Class 15, Matthew Blanchard and Emma Meterhoff. Out of Class 17, Madison Moots and Maxon Sims. Out of Class 19, Aubrey Sloan and Emma Myers. Out of Class 21, Hannah McBrayer and John Gander. And out of Class 23, Tyne Lawnbauer and Gabriel Hope. Those are the entries and exhibits that I need to the ring right now for the 4-H Grand Drive. Before we get started here with our 4-H Grand Drive, we'd like to take a minute to thank our judge for sorting through our market weathers today. Mr. Caleb Boardman lives in Bryan, Texas with his wife Kylie and 3 children, Cash, Tatum, and Tinsley. He currently serves as the executive director for the American Boar Goat Association. Caleb and his family own and operate Boardman Livestock, raising black-faced show lambs. He is originally from northern Wyoming, where he grew up on a large cattle operation before attending and judging livestock at Coffeyville Community College. and Texas A&M University. After receiving a Bachelor of Science in Agribusiness, he then served as a graduate coach at Texas A&M, including coaching the 2013 national champion team, while earning a master's in ruminant nutrition. Boardman then spent the next 10 years serving as head coach at the University of Wyoming and Texas A&M, where his judging teams won over 25 contests, including Cattlemen's Congress, the National Western, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, and the American Royal, as well as having 13 team members be named All-Americans. Caleb has judged shows of all species at the county, state, and national levels in 30 different states, including the National Western, Oklahoma Youth Expo, Rodeo Austin, and 18 different state fairs. We're very happy to have Mr. Caleb Boardman here with us today. Let's make him feel welcome. Entering the ring now are the first and second in class from the 4-H Market Weather Show, judging for the Grand Champion 4-H Market Weather and Reserve. Out of Class 1, exhibiting the first place goat, Bryson Morrison, followed by Heston Van Gerden. Out of Class 3, in first place, Sawyer Asbury, and in second, Tatum Asbury. Out of Class 5, in first place, Bryson Morrison, followed by Gavin Conrad. In seventh place, out of Class 7, first in class was Avery Wooden, followed by Paisley Nichols. Out of Class 9, Lena Waymeyer, followed by Carson Jackson. Your Class 11 winner was Maddox Wiss, followed by Leah Darling. Out of Class 13, First in class was Madison Moots. Second, Coy Honeycutt. Out of class 15, first place was Matthew Blanchard. Second in class went to Emma Meterhoff. Class 17, your first in class is Miley Gann. Second in class is Madison Moots. Out of class 19, your first in class is Aubrey Sloan. Second, Emma Myers. Out of class 21, first in class is Hannah McBrayer. Second is John Gander. And finally, out of class 23, your first in class is Tyne Lonbauer. And second was Gabriel Hope. These are your first and second in class market weathers from the 4-H division. For the FFA Grand Drive, out of Class 2, we need Cooper Burchett and Danielle Bowling. Out of Class 4, Brody Swindler and Macy Stauffer. Out of Class 6, Mallory Beck and Savannah Miller. Out of Class 8, we need Hadley Meyer and Danielle Bowling. Out of Class 10, Noah Williams and Adam Rhodes. Out of Class 12, Alexis Kelling and Mallory Beck. Out of Class 14, Sydney Eichelman and Miranda Foster. Out of Class 16, Thomas Limbach and Brody Swindler. Out of Class 18, Mallory Beck and Brenna Whitlow. Out of Class 20, Thomas Limbach and Haley Parrott. Out of Class 22, we need Alexis Kelling and Hadley Meyer. And out of Class 24, we need Caden Litton and Cadence Pauley. Please start making your way to the holding pen.
Well, first and foremost, let's put our hands together, congratulate these 4-H exhibitors on just an outstanding job right out here. A good show. There were some challenging classes to get through on putting things together. I think they come out here on the front line and just a really nice set. So I guess I've been thinking through here, and essentially we kind of have 3 different grand drives, so just kind of try to spread out what I'm going to say and keep it short at each spot. But guess we're going to start off with, I'm going to get on and preach just a second, I guess, as maybe the biggest crowd right around here, and watch Glenn Martin during the Ohio State Fair Steer Show the other night and kind of convicted and text him and appreciated what he did. You know, he got on. We're going to talk about Jesus for just a second. And some of you ringside might say that, you know, I'm not the best person to talk about it. You know, some history and some different things. And woke up this morning. That always makes me question whether I should say anything so I don't sound like a hypocrite. But woke up this morning, the daily Bible verse was John 3:17. Not John 3:16, that's the one we all know, but John 3:17. And it says, God sent his only son into the world not to condemn the world but to save it. And so I think, young people, the most important thing that I could tell you is coming from someone that, believe me, has made some big mistakes in my life. you have a Savior that's not here to condemn you, but to save you. And I hope that you can find that and find the purpose in your life to be able to follow that if you have not done that. And so that's the biggest thing as we get out here, young people, is we are about here trying to get out and win livestock shows. And I'm all about that. And when my kids are going to do it, we want to do that. But I hope you have a purpose and something bigger than that, because when it's all said and done, the relationships you build or you lose along the way is going to be more important to you than the wins and the trophies. And I hope you remind that and find the purpose. I hope you enjoy the time with your family and the friends that you have out there to be able to get through. And so that's why I'm saying this particular one. Let's get to the goats here for just a second. It was a good drive. We're going to talk about them just a little bit right out here, and the three that fall into contention just a little bit more. We're going to call them out and just describe those three just a little bit. Young lady right here in front of me, that's one that I think's awfully good in terms of his balance and his proportions from the side. I like the skeleton on this guy. Maybe not quite as athletic as another one in here that we'll talk about, but I like this guy in terms of structure and build and proportions as well as anything. Young lady with the cape-shouldered goat right here comes into contention. That one is my favorite as far as just being tucked up and shallow in his rib cage, round and athletic in his body, and hard muscled up high. Freaky touching goat, just a little shorter and steeper out of his hip, just a little tighter in terms of his hind leg build is where a tweak would be. Big goat, I actually think, comes into contention as a wide, stout power goat. Is he still just youthful enough? Is he fresh enough is my question as I read that one in there. So those are the three that I think come in just a little bit more to me. At the end of the day, there's a pair of them that hit me just a little harder. I'll go shake their hands. Put your hands together, make them feel special. It's a big accomplishment to get out here to the Missouri State Fair onto these shavings. Young people, I hope your blood's pumping and your adrenaline's going because you've accomplished a big thing that you should be very proud of.
Your grand champion, 4-H Market Weather, is Aubrey Sloans. Your reserve champion, 4-H Market Weather, goes to Maddox Wiss out of Class 11. Attention in the barns, the carcass weathers have been posted. The carcass weather classes have been posted. They will start that show at 4:30. Now entering the ring are the first and second in class from the FFA division. Out of Class 2, Cooper Burchett, and followed by Danielle Bowling. Out of Class 4, Brody Swindler, followed by Macy Stoffer. Out of Class 6, Mallory Beck in second, followed by Mallory Beck in first, followed by Savannah Miller. Out of Class 8, your first in class is Hadley Meyer, followed by Danielle Bowling. Out of Class 10, first in class is Noah Williams, followed by Adam Rhodes. Out of Class 12, your first in class is Alexis Kelling, followed by Mallory Beck. Out of Class 14, first in class is Sydney Eichelman, followed by Miranda Foster. Out of Class 16, Thomas Limbach. In second in class is Brody Swindler. Out of Class 18, Mallory Beck. And second in class is Brenna Whitlow. Out of Class 20, first in class was Thomas Limbach, followed by Haley Parrott. Out of Class 22, first in class is Alexis Kelling. Second is at Hadley Meyer. Out of Class 24, first in class was Caden Litton. And in second, Cadence Pauley. These are your first and second in class in the FFA division, showing for the Grand and Reserve FFA champion.
Right, if you would, let's put our hands together and congratulate these FFA kids. 4-H show was good, and those champions were real good, but the depth of this FFA show, man, it was tough. There's some really good goats in a lot of these classes. We're not going to probably specifically talk just some highlights because there's 6-7 goats that come out here to the top end that come into contention, and some in second that are just really high-quality, unique individuals that are hard to build. And so this go round, what I'm going to say is, young people, make sure you say your thank yous. I think I've got a few thank yous to say to start with. First and foremost, let's put our hands together. Let's thank our Missouri State Fair superintendents, our ring help, everyone that's put this show together. Man, it's ran smoothly. We had some smaller classes and different sizes classes. They kept them running through there and just consistently going. It's been a very enjoyable show to sort through yesterday and today, and I sure appreciate the invite. Always humbling to get to be able to judge a state fair and be trusted and, my opinion, valued to the level to sort of show of this caliber, and so I certainly appreciate that. The next thank you is my wife back home. She's taking care of our kids and the sheep. We're getting ready to breed here before too long, and just appreciate what she always does for me, and the people in my life that have been influenced. Thank them, my parents and coaches and different people that have led me to where I'm at. I always try to tell them thank you, and so young people, I encourage you to do the same thing. This takes a lot of time and a lot of efforts and a lot of money to haul you up and down and get goats that look like this and feed like this and do this. And so I hope you appreciate it. I hope you show gratitude to the people in your corner, whether you're standing out here today or whether you are last in class. I hope you show gratitude and appreciation to the people that have helped you out. Find people that'll be in your corner and stick with you through the good and the bad. And whether you, again, we're out here first lineup out here, or if you didn't do as well, I encourage you to just keep the big picture in mind, keep working hard, and if you didn't meet your goals this year, work harder next year. I always encourage people, you can either get bitter or you can get better, and so I encourage you to just go fight harder, and if you got beat, you could go and say, well, that judge didn't know what he was doing, or this or that person spends more money, or you could remind yourself every morning when you wake up out of bed and decide, do I want to wake up this morning? You fired up and you think about the person that beat you or the goal that you didn't quite meet, and you go set that goal and you accomplish it and you work hard, and I'll guarantee you if you have no regrets at the end of how much work and effort you put into it, and you're grateful to the people around you, you're going to be very happy with the end results, and you'll get the big picture thing out of this project other than just trying to win a show. So it's an awesome set of goats out here. As we come back out and evaluate them, get my hands on them, I think there's 4, 5, 6 of them that are awfully good out here. The more I study them and get especially to a 3/4 view and study just in terms of chest width and body shape and balance from the side, there's a little bit of a standout to me out here, and then it gets awfully close for reserve. Our reserve to me is the one that handles with a big spread and back and matches our division champion just in terms of bulk and spread and foundation. Just maybe doesn't do it quite as good out of their hip or base width right from behind as they go. But an awfully good set. Please make them feel special again. It's special to get out here to be in the champion drive at the Missouri State Fair FFA show. One heck of a show. Congratulations. I'll go select us a Grand and Reserve FFA go.
Your grand champion, FFA Market Weather, belongs to Thomas Limbach out of Class 16. Your reserve, FFA Market Weather, belongs to Alexis Kelling out of Class 12. We need our champion and reserve FFA and 4-H weathers to make their way to the holding pen immediately. Champion and reserve weathers to the holding pen immediately. We are now exhibiting our Grand and Reserve 4-H and FFA market weathers. From the 4-H division, your grand champion was Aubrey Sloan out of class 19. The reserve 4-H market weather belonged to Maddox Wiss out of class 11. Your champion FFA market weather belongs to Thomas Limbach out of class 16. And your reserve FFA market weather belongs to Alexis Kelling out of class 12. We will now select our grand overall champion weather and reserve overall champion weather.
Well, as we round out the show, again, been an honor to be able to be up here and sort this. When Randy called and asked, I was quick to say yes. And like I said, it's sure just humbling to be able to come in and sort the quality and caliber here. A state that just has put out a ton of good stockmen across different species. And we talk about some of the elite livestock people in the country are here in the state of Missouri. And so to get in and be able to come into these historic grounds and sort through the goat show has been a lot of fun. Again, young people just go in and just be grateful, say thank you, go shake superintendents and ringleaders' hands, and our FFA and 4-H team that were out here handing out ribbons. Go tell them thank you and just appreciate those people as they go through. So, man, it's been a lot of fun. I hope you were able to kind of follow through and watch and follow me. It's always a hope. As much as anything, I hope that you were able to see how I was describing them, whether you agreed with me or not, where we critiqued them, where we thought they were good. I hope we can agree on those objective facts. Then after that, it is just one person's opinion, and that it becomes very subjective. But I hope you could follow me through on what we were trying to do and build out here as we went through. And so last thing I'll say before I go and select us a grand and reserve is, I think the most important thing, young people, we talked about just getting up and having that grit, but part of it is just to have a positive, optimistic attitude, and fortunate actually in the last year to have gotten to know someone from the cattle barn. I'm not going to say name out here, but someone from here in this state that every Thursday morning I get on a Bible study with, and gentleman's fighting some bad cancer, and I've never met someone that just got more optimism for life and a gratitude and just praise Jesus attitude no matter the good and the bad, and I hope that each of us can have that attitude every day. So if you're listening, you know who it is, and shout out to you, brother. Love you on that. And young people, I hope you can find people like that in life that lift you up and just keep you a positive attitude. This show's been real good out here. I want us to put our hands together extra loud ringside. Make these 4 young people feel special. It's hard to make it out of those division drives and out here. These 4 special critters the young people should be proud of. There's a pair of them that I think that just come together, that just type and kind fit together just a little neater for me right out here, as far as being just a little burlier out here today. But it's been an awful big pleasure to be able to go through and do it right there. Young man right in front of me right here has our grand champion market goat. Congratulations to him. Young lady right behind us got a reserve overall champion market goat. Congratulations.
Your grand champion overall market weather belongs to Thomas Limbach from the FFA division. Your reserve grand champion market weather was exhibited by Alexis Kelling, also out of the FFA division.